Holy crap. Are you guys in for some amazing-tastic gameplay right now? I am going to show you the glue gunner. And first of all, where should you put a glue gunner? Now, you should probably about like 75% of the time, put a glue gunner like right in the front. And you don't want to put him like right here. You want to leave him a little bit of space so he can use his range both in front of him over here and in back of him over here. So you want to put him somewhere right over here. Also, a nice place to put him is just like right behind a straight line, for example, like right here. And what that'll do is you can just put him on last, and he pretty much will never miss. Now, if you put him somewhere over here and you put him on strong, he'll like sometimes miss or shoot his glue out. Now, they don't miss that often, but they can miss, and that'll lower your popping power, so that's not what you want to happen. Also, if you use two glue gunners like right next to each other and put them both on last, they'll just like never miss. You can pretty much get a ton of balloons going, or a ton of glue destruction going. Besides that, a 0-0 glue gunner is pretty much worthless. I mean, there's really no point to a 0-0 glue gunner. It does almost nothing. Even on the very, very first levels, it'll do like nothing. It's not important whatsoever. You just don't get it by itself. Once you get the glue soak upgrade, that can be actually pretty darn helpful though. The glue soak upgrade is the 1-0 upgrade, and the difference between that is if you have a blue balloon that comes by and then you shoot the glue, the monkey, as soon as he pops it, the glue will wear off, and then you need to glue it again before you can glue it again so it'll slow itself down. And then this guy is, what happens is he has glue soak, so if you have him on glue soak, you could have a couple dart monkeys here, and even if a yellow balloon comes by, the glue will soak through all layers of balloons and no matter what, affect all the balloons. Now eventually that glue will wear off, so for example, if you let the balloon go all the way throughout the entire map, it will probably wear off somewhere around here or something like that. I'm not sure exactly where, but it will wear off. And the next upgrade, which this is pretty good, I mean, especially if you're using it, it depends on your strategy a lot for glue gunners. Now, sometimes you could use glue gunners very, very effectively with just this upgrade. Sometimes you could put glue gunners back here with just a couple upgrades and have them do good. Now, most of the time, what you want to do is actually have a glue gunner with corrosive glue right at the beginning of the map, because corrosive glue can do so much damage to anything under ceramics, and it can do a lot of damage to ceramics if you can pop them. So let me show you corrosive glue really fast. Now, corrosive glue can only pop 4 layers of balloon unless you get this upgrade stickier glue. So if a pink comes by, it will not pop the pink all the way down to nothing. It will only pop it down to a red. So the red's going to get by here and go all the way through to the end, and that kind of sucks. I mean, it only pops 4 layers, but if you get the stickier glue upgrade, which I'll talk about in a little while, you could pop rainbows no problem, and most of the time you can actually pop ceramics. Now, the next upgrade right here is Balloon Dissolver, and Balloon Dissolver is pretty much exactly like corrosive glue, except it's a lot stronger. Now, this upgrade right here can actually dissolve, I believe, ceramics down to nothing without even stickier glue. Let's check. I don't really know. I always get stickier glue before I get this guy, but let's check anyways and just see what happens. So yeah, that guy can pop all balloons from ceramic down to nothing without even stickier glue. Now, that's going to be different if you have a regeneration balloon. Now, this guy will probably not pop down to nothing. Oh, he did. So you don't even need stickier glue. This guy with stickier glue really doesn't mean anything at all. So that's good. Another thing about this guy is if you're going to get this guy, you're probably going to have a 3-2 glue gunner, not just a 3-0 glue gunner, because a 3-0 glue gunner can only affect 1 balloon per shot, while a 3-2 glue gunner can affect 4 balloons per shot. Or 6, I forget. How many is it? 6 balloons per shot. So this is what you're usually going to want to get. You kind of have to use combos with the glue gunner. You don't want to just use like a 4-1 or 4-0 glue gunner. That's completely pointless. No point to that whatsoever. You definitely want to get this glue splatter. Glue splatter is pretty much important for almost any glue gunner that you're going to get. Now, in the early rounds, I just want to go back a little bit here and just mention something about this corrosive glue gunner. Now, because pretty much everything is a corrosive glue gunner, you're going to get all corrosive glue gunners. What's the best way to use corrosive glue gunners? Now, the best way to use corrosive glue gunners on like a hard level, just for example, in this map, you want to get a corrosive glue gunner before round 20. And the reason you do that is because, or around round 20. I mean, sometimes you actually can have good towers that can actually beat rounds like 20 through 24 and 23, and you don't even need the glue gunner. But it actually works a lot better if you get a glue gunner before round 20. And what that does is if you get a corrosive glue gunner with the stickier glue, he can pretty much take out rounds 20 to almost 31 and glue just about every single balloon besides level like 27. So that's a good glue gunner. You definitely want to get at least one glue gunner before level 20. Now you're of course going to have to have some backup towers and some extra defenses, but I'm just saying the glue gunner can actually work very, very well up to level like 31, from 20 to 31. And then once you get to level 31, you probably want to get 2 glue gunners. And the reason you do that is because level 32 has a lot of black balloons coming by, and you can get a lot of points and a lot of extra points just by getting an extra glue gunner. You can basically pay for itself on level 32, and it helps for level 34, 35, 37, 38, so all those levels, it helps a bunch. And I mean, pretty much from then on, it helps a bunch. Now usually what you're going to do is, if you're using a lot, going heavy glue gunner, you're probably going to get a glue splatter by level like 20, or not 20, by level like 37 or 38, usually 38, and glue splatter will help a bunch. And that's just like the basic way of beating like a hard level, but I'm still going to go over each upgrade and explain them kind of well. Now the reason why you usually don't get Balloon Dissolver is because you don't really need Balloon Dissolver. You just need something that's going to hit every single balloon, or a lot of balloons. I mean, this is kind of an expensive upgrade. So going back to the Balloon Dissolver, you usually don't want to get this guy unless you're doing some kind of crazy strategy. I mean, you could get this guy, but I wouldn't really recommend it. I'd recommend just getting a corrosive glue gunner, maybe with glue splatter, and then having a couple backup towers. And those backup towers will help pop the ceramics and pop some of the balloons, so this guy's not even necessary. But if you do get this guy, you probably want to get him, I mean, if you can afford him and you already have enough money, you could get this guy for level like 40, 39, somewhere right around there, and he'll pop pretty much all the balloons by himself. Now you have to get this guy obviously with this upgrade and the glue splatter, but he can pop pretty much every single balloon, which is obviously good. And you can do that up to the first Moabs. And that's the reason why you usually don't want to go with these guys, is just because usually you're going to put this guy somewhere near the front of the map, and then once the first Moab comes, it's like, oh, the Moab's not going to pop till over here or something like that, and then your glue isn't even going to get to hit that, and then you don't have any towers with popping power. So that's kind of the bad news if you just use this guy just to pop everything. You usually don't want to just do that. You usually want to, unless you put him in the right spot. I mean, if you have him like in a spot like maybe right here or something like that, where you can pop, where he can not only shoot the glue at the balloons from the beginning, he can also shoot the glue from the balloons that pop out of the Moab. So, I mean, it's really hard to find a good spot for this guy. That's why it's usually not that good to use on like a hard map. On the other hand, there are some special daily challenges where this guy's super helpful, and on the special mission, the one where your towers get destroyed after every 10 rounds, I forget what that one's called. But this guy can be used very well on those maps because it can pop pretty much every single balloon by itself up to round like 46. And obviously you would need this glue splatter though, or you probably wouldn't do very much damage. The next upgrade is just almost useless just because it does not pop Moabs and it's almost unnecessary. Now the reason that's unnecessary is because this guy can pop everything, even regenerating ceramics down to nothing. What is the point if you don't affect Moabs to get this balloon liquefier? Now, you could argue, well, it's going to pop them faster, so your other towers can do more damage to the other balloons. Yeah, I guess, but this is a $12,500 upgrade. That's a huge amount of money to pay. Now, even late game, this would be almost completely useless. And the worst thing about this upgrade is if you have a big rush of ceramics, he's not even going to glue all of them. He's going to miss a bunch of them. For example, let me show you. If you have a huge rush of ceramics, like 76, 78, he's going to miss a bunch of these. Oh crap, I forgot to get the glue splatter. Even with glue splatter, he's going to miss a bunch of them. Now, it might look like I'm hitting every single one right now, which only one got by. That's funny. But on level like 76, I couldn't even send them fast enough. On level like 76, 78, even 63, he's not going to shoot them all. He's going to miss a bunch of them. So it's kind of like a pointless upgrade. I would say this is one of the most worthless upgrades in that game. Now you might say blah 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 blah. I disagree. The glue can be used in certain conditions. I guess. I mean, if you really feel like paying $13,000 for some popping power, I mean, obviously you'd be way better off with like a plasma robo or something like that. He can pop Moabs and stuff. This guy, I mean, I guess if you somehow magically found like the perfect spot for this glue gunner, you could somehow make him work. But there's really no point to paying this much money. Just get the 3-2 glue gunner instead of the 4-2 glue gunner. Don't waste your money on this guy. So this is the 1/4 upgrade where I'm just gonna say like don't ever get it. I mean, there's not really that many where I say don't ever get it. There's a couple where I'm like, it's not really worth it. This is just one of those ones. Just don't get it, guys. Just don't get it. It's not worth the money. It's not bad. Like, I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. It pops all these balloons really, really fast. I mean, just like right next to it, just pops them, right? But the thing is, you don't need it. You don't need it at all. Especially for that amount of money. So, now let's move on to the other side of the glue, which I kind of talked about a little bit, just because you need glue gunners that are kind of equal on both sides. You can't just have like a 4-0 glue gunner. It would do nothing. It would pop like barely any balloons. Any ceramics that got by would easily go through your entire defenses. So there's really no point to just getting like a 4-0 glue gunner or a 0-4 glue gunner from that matter. You kind of need to mix it up a little bit. So usually what you want to do is get some sort of glue gunner, a corrosive glue gunner first. Now that's the first thing you usually want to do with your glue gunner, and then you can start getting stickier glue. Now some people might say, well, you could probably get glue soak and then stickier glue. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, it depends on your strategy. That's totally fine. I mean, stickier glue is only $120. If it helps you save up for corrosive glue, go ahead and do it. No big deal. But stickier glue is pretty darn important. I mean, like I said before, corrosive glue can only pop pinks down to reds. Now, if you're having something like a rainbow come by, your glue is going to wear off pretty fast, and then you're going to have a bunch of probably yellow balloons just charging through your defenses. So that's not a good thing. But if you have stickier glue, you can pop these rainbows down to absolutely nothing. That's obviously a good thing. And as well, if you have stickier glue, if you have a ceramic coming by, I mean, the ceramic is going to have the glue on it the entire way through. And obviously, if you slowed it down a bunch and stuff like that, the glue could eventually wear off. And the glue obviously did not pop the ceramic. But if you have some towers back here that are able to pop the ceramics, for example, if you had, let's try this guy out. 1, 2, and 3. And I think this guy could be able to pop the ceramic in time. And yeah, if you pop the ceramic, the glue is going to do all the work. So the glue does all the popping power. All you need to do is pop the ceramic. And that's exactly what this guy is for. Now if you have a couple ceramics coming by, I mean, this is just an example. You could probably pop most of the ceramics. And that was 3 ceramics, and that was pretty easy. And the glue, obviously, you want to make sure you pop the ceramics fast enough. If you don't pop the ceramics fast enough, your glue is not going to have time to do the work. But you usually have some towers around here that are either slowing balloons down or popping balloons, so it can be very helpful. Also, it's good to put this tower usually somewhere around like the middle here to pop the ceramics just a little bit earlier. So that's just one tidbit of information. If you're using glue, you don't want to have the ceramics pop all the way in the back. You want to have the ceramics pop somewhere near the front. So you usually want to have some of your towers kind of in the front here. And that's one of the weird things about the glue gunner is he can affect your entire strategy. So if you have a glue gunner and you're like, I'm going kind of heavy glue gunner, you're going to have like a 2-2 glue gunner, what you can do is have it's gonna like affect how you're gonna place your towers. Normally you might be like, oh, this is where I'm gonna get most of the popping power, but you're gonna be like, okay, I should probably pop the balloons before, or pop the ceramics before I let them get too far. So you're gonna put most of your towers like right here or something like that. So the glue is definitely a game changer when thinking about your strategy. And then the next one is obviously glue splatter, and I talked about this quite a bit. It pops 6 balloons, or shoots 6 balloons instead of 1. So that's a big change for $2,200. Think about getting that. I mean, obviously you don't need it in the super early levels. You're better off getting 2 just corrosive glue gunners instead of this upgrade. But if once you're getting like to level 38, right around 38, 2 glue gunners is not going to do it. That's when you can either sell 1 glue gunner and get this upgrade 0-2 or 2-2, or you could leave the other glue gunner there just to be safe, I guess, but you really don't need it most of the time. And the best place to put this glue gunner like that when you have this upgrade is usually on last. I mean, you could put it on first, but usually on last, because it'll help him stop missing most balloons for the most part. And obviously he's gonna miss he's gonna miss some balloons, but it'll actually help if you put them on last. And just trust me on that. It's really hard to show in Sandbox, but last is usually your best bet. Now, sometimes you could actually use glue gunners in a weird spot. Now you might say, oh yeah, glue gunners in the front, but you said something about not always putting glue gunners in the front. That is correct. Now you usually don't want to put glue gunners in the front, like get super strong glue gunners in the front, because you need the Moabs to pop first. So let's say, for example, you had like a Moab pop like somewhere over here, and instead of doing that, I'm just gonna send out 4 ceramics. So that's like a popped Moab, okay? How are you gonna defeat those balloons? Well, the best way to do it is usually just getting a glue gunner and an Arctic wind. So this is like a combination type thing, and I'm gonna go into more detail about combinations later in the game. But all you really need to do is put the glue gunner somewhere in the back, kind of next to your Arctic wind, and that's very important. And you can pop basically infinite balloons with this combination right here. And you might say, oh yeah, blah blah blah, that's a lot of money. But yeah, it can pop infinite balloons, like I said, infinite. So you can pop as many balloons as you want with this combination right here. And that's glue gunner and Arctic wind. So just keep that in mind. And the best thing to actually do is actually to get this glue hose actually over here. So I mean, yeah, a couple got through, I guess, so I guess that's really not infinite. But it's quite a bit. And trust me on that, especially if you put the Arctic wind in a really good spot, and if you have a couple other towers right around here. Now just trust me on this, if you have just 1 or 2 more towers right over here, you're going to pop pretty much anything that comes out of those BFBs and all that. The next upgrade is actually glue hose, which is kind of like this tower, except it's a little bit better because yeah, I don't know why those are getting through. I guess it's just the way I put it in such a weird spot. Let me try one more spot really fast. I think I can pop pretty much infinite balloons if I put them in the right spot. Alright, let me try one more time. Actually, no, that's a bad spot as well. Let's try this one more time. Yeah, I messed up, guys. Let me try one more time. I'm sorry. I know this is a long video. I'm going to keep trying to explain the glue gunner, but I just want to get this down really fast. I think if you put it right here, it'll actually do even better. And this especially works if you use like cannon or something like that, or some sort of like 3-1 monk or boomerang or something like that. It'll definitely help you out. And this will actually help because the glue won't wear off before it gets like halfway around, and that's the best way to use the glue gunner. So you just gotta put it in the right spot, and then you'll definitely help out. See how they all popped like right down here before they got through? And the only reason it wasn't working before is because I was shooting the glue a little bit too early, and the glue would go all the way around here, and then wear off somewhere right around here, and I'll have a bunch of white balloons that were unglued, and they couldn't really get frozen, and then they just kind of ran by. So that's the reason why they didn't work. And let me show you again, just to reiterate and show you that I was just placing it in a bad spot. It can pop pretty much infinite amount of ceramics. So, I mean, obviously what you're going to want to do is not always use this guy right here, because you might have your towers over here popping a lot more of these balloons, and you're going to have a lot of low-level balloons. And when you have a lot of low-level balloons, you're going to need this guy, which is Glue Hose. And Glue Hose shoots 3 times as fast. And so yeah, see how the glue wears off, and then there's a bunch of just zebra balloons left? That's no good. So it popped almost the infinite balloons, but it was pretty close, I'd say. This is Glue Hose, which shoots 3 times as fast, and I believe it pops or shoots 12 balloons instead of 6. So it shoots like 36 instead of 6. Or like 6 times as much glue. So it's definitely a worthful upgrade. I would definitely get it. I don't know if that's a word, worthful. Definitely a good upgrade. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just like I was saying. If you have, it's just better to just get this guy instead of a 2-2 glue gunner. Get a 2-3 glue gunner. You're definitely better off, and you're definitely better off with this guy than what I think. I definitely think a 3-0 is not as good, or not a 3-0. A 3-2 is not as good as a 2-3. So definitely this guy I think is better, just because it's a better combination with Arctic Wind and stuff like that. The next upgrade is Glue Striker, which I never use, and the reason I don't use it is because it can glue all the balloons on the screen, but it's just not really worth it. This guy can pretty much pop all the balloons on the screen anyways. So there's really almost no need for it. This guy, I mean, yeah, you could probably make a scenario where balloons will actually get by this guy, but for the most part, they will not. Yeah, for the most part, they will not get by this guy. I mean, even if, like, you could send whatever you want and pretty much never get it by, but what happens is sometimes if you could, like, magically have, like, all these ceramics get popped down by, like, snipers or something like that into a million reds or yellows or something like that, then they can somehow sneak by here just because there's so many of them, even more than what I can send by holding down a button in sandbox mode. So that's the only way you're really going to get by this guy. That's why this $5,500 upgrade is kind of worthless. You really don't need it. This guy's good enough. Don't even worry about getting that 4th upgrade. So yeah, to reiterate, the Glue Gunner, there's a lot of effective ways to use the Glue Gunner. There's a lot of different ways to use the Glue Gunner. And the weird thing about this one is there's no like, oh, use this Glue Gunner, he's the best. No, it depends on your strategy, depends on the way you do it, depends on the timing of the game. So keep that in mind when you're using the Glue Gunners, and how to use them to the best of your ability. There's definitely some strategy involved with the Glue Gunners. A lot of other towers, there's really not that much strategy. They're just like, kind of put them here and kind of upgrade them to this. This one, it's like, put it here at this time and this time and that time. So you got to work on that if you're going to be really good with the Glue Gunners, because Glue Gunners are one of the best towers in the game if you can use them correctly. That's really all I got for the Glue Gunners. I know this was a long video, and I know I messed up just a little bit with that infinite balloons thing. I guess I really can't stop infinite balloons, but I can stop quite a bit. And if you have one other tower or 2 other towers right over there, probably like a 3-1 boomerang or even a cannon, you could probably pop infinite, no problemo. Alright guys, thanks for watching and have a fantasmagastic day.